Hello, 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 and welcome to IHKC Live. We're running a little bit late today. And it's because I had like five things that I needed to talk to Cynthia about. So sorry, not sorry. I thoroughly enjoy talking to Cynthia, and we're going to do some more of that here in just a little bit. But before that, first things first, my name is Lauren Conaway, and I'm founder and CEO of InnovateHER KC. We are a leadership community for women and gender minorities in the Kansas City area. We currently serve over 8,000 members, and we do so through what we call our 5 pillars. They are social connection, professional development, mentorship, championship, and resource sharing. And we are very, very proud to do so. So today, when Cynthia, executive producer of IHKC Live, and I were talking about topics, one of the things that I think that we are very aware of is the fact that times are tough right now. Times are tough all the way around. And I think that one of the things that women and gender minorities struggle with is we're not extraordinarily kind to ourselves. And we don't often talk about how we can serve ourselves. And so, Cynthia had this brilliant idea to talk about kind of soft living, having a soft landing for 2025, talking about ways that we can that we can live kindly to ourselves, not just everyone around us. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to bring up the fabulous Cynthia Fails. Hi, Cynthia.
Hey.
And we're going to have a conversation. This is going to be a soft IHKC live, which
Yeah,
feels very in keeping with the theme. What do you
it
think,
does.
Cynthia?
I think so.
Oh, I do have to. Sorry, Cynthia called me out the last time I did this. I do have to say, once again, I am wearing the sunglasses because my windows right now, they just love burning my corneas out. And so this is happening.
There you go.
There you go. So, a little disclaimer.
Yay. Yeah, I'm excited for today's conversation.
Me too. Me
I don't
too.
think
I love
we,
it when you lead conversations. They're always my
yeah,
favorite.
I don't think we talk about this enough. We always hear "New Year, New Me," and people are like jumping full speed ahead into the new year.
Yeah. There's that Sheryl Sandberg book that's called Lean In.
Hmm.
And that it's fine. I've read it. It's a good enough book. But there's a writer. Her name is Tiffany Dufu,
Hmm.
and she actually wrote a book called "Drop the Ball" in response to Lean In. And she talks about the fact that we are so often instructed as women to lean into things and try harder, work harder. And she's like, no, I don't want to. And I can opt out. And the only
Yeah.
way to win the game is to not play. And I'm just like, ooh, you're my hero. Is that kind of what we're talking about today, Cynthia?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. And also talking about some of the guilt that we feel
Yeah.
in feeling like we have to do all these things or else it didn't mean it, like our life isn't worthy enough, like it didn't measure up, or
Yeah.
there's a wide variety of topics that we'll be covering today, but
Well, I am very, very
I'm excited.
excited. But first, I understand that do you have a little verbal present for us? Some
I do.
funsies. You
I
do.
always do.
What you got, friend? What you got?
I'm gonna keep it simple for you. Just two today. The first one, if you could meet any author, who would it be and why? What would you
Like
talk to them
what about like ghostwriters and shit? Like, because I mean, I could meet
about?
Michelle Obama. Technically,
Hmm.
she's written. I have no idea if she wrote her book all by herself, though. Like, does that
Hmm.
count? That's
You
that
tell
face.
me.
Yeah. She's like, I know.
I don't know.
Right, fine. Actually, you know who I would really, really love to meet, and I hate that it's not a woman, but Walter Isaacson. Do you know him?
Hmm.
He's a journalist and he did this series. He's done just a whole bunch. He's done a profile or a book on Elon Musk, Leonardo da Vinci. Hold on, I'm looking at my Walter Isaacson thing. Einstein, Steve Jobs. Like he's interviewed a lot of people who were like really, really a part of the zeitgeist at the moment that
Hmm.
he was writing. and I find it really interesting. And I'd want to talk to him about like what commonalities did you find between these kind of objectively successful, brilliant people? Like talk to
Yeah.
about that. Where were the convergences and divergences?
Interesting.
So yeah, that was what popped into my head. How about you?
Octavia Butler. Yeah. Her mind is just brilliant. So
Good call. Can we have like a dinner party where we invite like
that'd be
5
cool.
authors? Let's do that.
Yeah. Who else would you round it out with?
Well, Michelle Obama is one. Like she's just
Okay.
my superhero. Like I just adore her. She ends up on my lists like all the time. I'm like, she's
Yeah.
got the best arms. She's so smart. She's so accomplished. Like, yes, that's what I want. Who else? Who else? I'm like looking at all of my books. Do they have to be alive?
No.
Um, oh, so one of them was do you know who Rebecca Skloot? So
Hmm.
she wrote The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, which is just
Yep.
like a fascinating book. So I would and I think that she did so in like a really, really accessible way. Like she's just
Yes.
a really fabulous science writer. So I'd
Yes.
like to have her.
Fun story. She came to UMKC a few years ago,
Yeah.
and I got to meet her.
Oh, was she nice?
Yes, of course.
Well, I don't know. I
She's
mean, I've met
interacting with a
celebrities
bunch of
before.
young minds. Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like most people who would write the story that she wrote about Henrietta Lacks and um, her cells and the injustices that were done to the family. Like I feel like
Yeah.
I won't say
For those
anybody,
of you who don't
most people
know,
that would.
Henrietta Lacks is responsible. She was a sharecropper,
Mhm.
a black woman sharecropper back in like was it like the 20s, 30s? I don't remember the exact dates, but she had cancer and she was being treated, and without her consent, cells were harvested from her body and then used to create what we call today the HeLa, or I don't know
Yeah.
if it's HeLa
Gila.
or
Mhm.
HeLa, but HeLa cells, and it's HeLa, Henrietta Lacks. That's how they got named, but they are quote unquote immortal cells. And it was the first time that scientists were able to propagate these cells outside of a human body. And it became kind of the basis and the foundation of a lot of our medical testing and pharmacological science, being able to use and manipulate these cells. And so Henrietta Lacks did this really incredible thing for medicine, resulting in billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of research, only possible because of her cells. But the buried lead of the story is that they did all of these things, and Henrietta Lacks and her family never saw any kind of benefit from it. To this day,
Mhm.
her family remains impoverished, and they have very, very little recognition for what their mother or what the matriarch did for science and for our culture and community and for the medical field. And so it's a fascinating book. And yeah, I can see that Rebecca Skloot would be, I hope she would be a nice person, but
Yeah.
she wrote about that the injustice piece and how the Lax family is owed. Like we owe them
Yeah.
so
I mean,
much.
we're still using the cells today.
Still using the cells, like to
Yeah.
this day.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yep. 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 Yep.
So anyway, so you know what? We just like that was like
We
a
totally
crazy
do. That's what
tangent.
we
I
do. It's okay.
apologize, but I highly recommend that anybody read this book. It's a great book.
Yep. All right. Second question. And this one actually leads into what we're talking about today.
Okay.
Um, would you prefer to set New Year's resolutions or a yearly theme? Or neither?
I opted out of both this year. I was like, you know what? I if I need to better myself, I hope that I am aware enough, like self-aware enough that I recognize it in the moment. Like I don't need to wait till January 1st to be like, hey, get your
Hmm.
shit together.
Hmm.
So I guess I'm usually I set resolutions. I cannot remember having like setting a theme,
Yeah.
but this year I did neither of those dog shit things.
Interesting.
How about
Interesting.
you?
I tried the resolution thing years and years ago, like decades ago. And I kept getting frustrated because I would lose steam essentially. Like you march towards something and then something else comes and distracts you and then
Yeah.
you don't meet the resolution. And for me, that was a really frustrating process because I would set these things and I would march towards them and then not succeed in meeting them. And I felt like I was letting myself down. So I got away from the New Year's resolutions and instead started focusing on more of a theme. Instead of a yearly theme, it's this is the year that I will fill in the blank, right? What do I
Yeah.
want to do? How do I want to live? Um, but for me, it's important to start with something because that drives what happens for me for the rest of the year. It drives my actions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you willing to share your theme for this year? I'm
Yeah.
curious.
Um, yeah. Hold on. Let me look at the thing here because it's not off the top of my head. I can't pull it, but it's in the journal. 2025 will be the year I intentionally thrive and the year that I live, like fully live.
But do you think question, like
Hmm.
do you do that anyway? Like, did you
Mm.
need really? Okay.
I wasn't. No. So and it's social media will have people believing that someone is fully thriving when
Yeah.
all we're seeing is surface level stuff, right? Like you're getting the highlight reel. That's why they
Sure.
call them reels, right? So you're getting the highlights of people's lives, and it's not very often that you get the mediocre stuff or the stuff that they're struggling with, because when you put that stuff out, that brings in a different level of scrutiny and honestly can do more harm than good.
Yeah.
So I understand why people shy away from sharing that stuff, but no, I was I was struggling a lot internally. So for this to be the year that I intentionally thrive, yes. Not that I wasn't thriving before, but more focus on the intentionality piece of that.
So really it's kind of creating like a coalescing point. Like I have all of
Hmm.
these thoughts and all of these things and all of these
Hmm.
opportunities and like here's just one thing that I can focus on.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then it feeds into like everything else.
yeah.
Okay.
And I feel like that's a bit. We're talking about a soft beginning and not coming in hot, essentially,
Yeah.
essentially, right? I mean, think about people who run a marathon. I wouldn't dare set a pace for a marathon knowing my average pace. Let's say half marathon average pace for the last year was probably right around 10:55 for me.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to run a marathon, 26.2 miles, there's no way that I'm going to start the first 3 miles of that running at anything under 10 minutes per mile, right?
Yeah.
Because what I'm going to do is burn myself out. If I burn myself out, what do the rest of those miles look like? I still have 23 more to go, and I'm going to be worn out by the time I get halfway through it. But life is the same way, and we don't necessarily treat it like that.
That's true. I think that so so you're talking about running a marathon and I think that one of the things that I struggle with in this vein is like cuz like I mean you know me. I'm very much a all or nothing balls to the wall kind of person. Like I
Mhm,
either lift right out or I am in it.
mhm,
Right? Like slow and steady, not really a thing. I am absolutely the hare in the
mhm,
story. And I think that like one of the things that kind of when you're talking about like energy conservation, I think that one of the things that bums me out is like you never know what's coming. And so like if I sit here and I'm like, okay, well, I want to run a marathon. Here's what my, times are and everything like that. But then what we didn't realize is that, oh, well, at the end of the marathon, people are going to start throwing like obstacles in your way and they're going to put down oil for you to slip in. And so like
right,
what you're not planning for are the unforeseen circumstances that you have now not planned your energy dispersal around, right?
mhm,
And so like that's
mhm,
one of the things that like bugs me because in your head, like we're planning for a marathon and it's like, okay, this is what I have to do and this is what this looks like. But then all of a sudden whoever the jerk is at the finish line who's like, we're going to make it really hard as we can for you to
There's
finish.
legs.
You didn't
And
account
tomatoes.
for that.
Yeah, but I don't have to worry about it because when I get there, then I'm in the moment. And then I can account for whatever energy adjustments I need to make. If I burn myself out at the beginning and I'm dragging tail at the end, now what does my energy level look like to deal with those things? My
Yeah.
fuse is much shorter. The way that I respond to those different types of stimulus is way different than if I was conserving my energy along the way.
Oh my God. Are you saying this to me? Because folks, I just want you to know
No,
that like
no,
Cynthia
not at
and
all.
what I told you we were running late today because literally one of the things that I wanted to talk to Cynthia about, I was like, okay, I'm really mad about something, and I am very aware that I should absolutely not be mad about this thing. It does not matter at all. And it was like my heart was just so pissed. And my head was
Yeah.
like, calm down. And so I think like that is actually kind of like a perfect illustration of exactly what you're talking about. Like I'm in a
Mhm.
moment in time right now where my patience and my energy levels were already crazy low.
Yeah.
And then you add like a little teeny tiny little ember of fire on there, and I'm just like, wow, everything
Yeah.
blows up.
Mhm.
Because
Yep.
my soul is dry and desiccated, and it'll light up real quick. So yeah, like I mean, is that kind of what you're talking about? Is
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't using your example specifically, but yes,
yeah.
the concept is the same.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, it like could not be more perfect timing. Like, that was literally how I started the conversation. I was like, "We're gonna be late today because I have to talk to you about like 5 things," and one of them was this thing where it's like, I should not be mad. I am in
Yeah.
fact mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it was interesting. We also talked about, the Moth Story Slam that I got to do yesterday, right? And the theme for this month was reset. And I threw my name in the hat, and somebody pulled it. And so I got to share a little bit about, my journey up the Manitou Incline with my friend Deborah. And for me, the reset on the Manitou Incline, I think we were really lucky because it's 2,768 steps, um, like a 2,000-foot, um, altitude adjustment from
Yeah.
the base to the top, and almost a mile long, right? So you're like, it's steep.
Yeah.
And we couldn't see the top of it the day that we climbed. We could see it the day before, which freaked me out. And it felt like I was about to ride a roller coaster, like I was about to get in the car. And instead of sitting with that for 2 minutes, I had like 24 hours with that feeling. But then we get there and it disappears because we can only see about 300 steps.
Yeah.
And the reset for me was realizing that we just have this moment. I couldn't see in the middle. I couldn't see the top yet. I couldn't see the base because we were in the clouds,
Yeah.
but I could see the steps in front of me and I could make choices based on what I could see. And that's the reset for me.
So you
And
were
there's
making choices based on what you could see.
what you can see. Yeah. And what you can physically do in that moment.
Yeah. So
Yep.
I think one of the things that, and I remember, and if I remember correctly, like the Manitou Incline, like it was kind of an impromptu thing. Like this is not something that you had on the books for like years, to be
No.
planning on. But I think one of the things that impressed me so much about you, I'm not surprised that you elected to do this really challenging thing. Like one of the you push yourself. You push yourself,
I,
which
yeah.
we're going to circle back on that because
Yeah,
how
absolutely.
do you push yourself while still being soft with yourself? I don't know the
Hmm.
answer to that question. But one of the things that impressed me so much is that I think I got two texts from you while you're
Hmm.
doing this very hard, arduous thing. And I know that I was not the only one. Like you had a
No,
whole pantheon of people. We were all rooting for you, but we're all
there was
like
only three of you. There
warm
were
in
only
our,
there were only
sitting on
three. I was only texting three of you.
okay, you're only texting three of us. But I think one of the things that I loved is I was like, you knew what you needed. And there were
Hmm.
times when you were doing this really difficult thing, this
Yeah.
physically taxing thing, where I think like you needed support and backup and
Yep.
just to know that people were in your corner, even if we were not breathing your same airspace,
Yeah,
right? Is that because that's what it felt like to me. It felt like you were just
absolutely
kind
it
of
was.
looking for,
Yes.
huh?
It absolutely is what it was. It's for me, it was who are the people that I know are gonna cheer me on, and if there's a moment when I'm on this incline where I'm struggling, I'm like, "I don't know if I can keep climbing." Who are the people that I know will be like, "Pfft, you're already doing it. Keep climbing."
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Well, so I'm gonna dig a little bit deeper there.
Mhm.
And we still have our pin, but how do you assess what you need stacked against what people are expecting of you? And I don't necessarily, Cynthia, I
Mm.
don't think anybody was really like, I don't think anybody was like, Cynthia has to climb this mountain. Like,
No.
as far as I know, most of us were like, oh, shit, she's climbing a
Like,
mountain.
"Wait, what's happening? Why didn't you tell us this was happening?"
Yeah, like it just kind of came out of nowhere. But then it was like, all right, she's climbing a mountain. You got it. Like you go. So when you were trying to figure out like what you needed and what you were going to ask of yourself, because you
Mhm.
asked that of yourself. Nobody asked
Mhm.
that of you.
Yep.
How did you come to that realization? Like this is something that I want to do. I want to go hard at this one thing.
Um, honestly, this was part of Deborah's 40th birthday celebration. Climbing the Manitou Incline was on her list.
Okay.
And usually for both of us, like we tackle big things, big, hairy, audacious goals regularly. And it's like an immediate yes. And this one, I was just like, oh, maybe. And it's because there were so many other things happening interpersonally for me, right?
Yeah.
There was a lot that I was carrying. There was a lot that I was sifting through personally at the time. And it was kind of overwhelming. So I wasn't even sure if I was going to go. And in the moment where I got still and I heard yes, when I went, I knew if I'm going to need, if I'm going to go, I'm going to need to pace myself, right? Deborah and Mallory, they had been working the Stairmaster at the gym with weighted vests. So they were
Wow.
prepared. I was training for a half marathon that I didn't end up running. It's a different level of preparation, right?
Sure.
So I know if I'm going to do this, I'm going to need strategic rest points. And at those strategic rest points, I'm probably going to need some encouragement along the way.
Yeah.
And so we used those every 500 steps, we stopped and just checked in with each other, made sure we didn't need to use those cans of oxygen that Deborah got us, which never got used. Mine is still wrapped in plastic, thankfully.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was, for me, it was just an assessment of what I know I'm capable of in this moment, where I know I'm gonna need some support, where I'm gonna fall short probably just because of where I am in this moment, and then figuring out who are the people that can help me in those areas. So that's kind
Yeah.
of how I did it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Yep.
honored to be one of those people. It was a trip though. Like you sent me a picture. You sent me like a picture of one of the stops, and I was just like, "The fuck?
Yeah.
It's
Like,
not
what's
a mountain."
happening? Happening.
I had like a whole moment about it, but that was just what happened in my head. Well, so how do you? All right, we often we often have things that we push ourselves to, right?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
internally imposed things that we are supposed to be doing. Like you have that what is that saying? It's like you shit it all over yourselves like I shoulda coulda woulda.
Mhm.
And then you also have outside external influences that are constantly asking us to be more, do more, have more.
Mhm.
And so to me, I think one of the things about like a soft life is what you just said. Like you are only there to align with your own expectations.
Mhm.
And I want to talk to you about that. Like
Sure.
how do you quiet all of the things, all of the voices, the cacophony of be better, do better, be more, whatever, is expected of you? How do you just say fuck it? And then like I'm just gonna listen to my own inner compass and what
Yeah.
is soft and kind to me.
Yeah. It took some coaching for me to get to that place, honestly. So back in 2020, when I was in my coaching sessions, I got asked why a lot, like why I do these things to myself.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, no, no, I'm not
I
doing
have had
oh,
that
wait,
thought as well.
I am doing this to myself. And um, when you have somebody who's holding up the mirror so that you can see the choices that you're making and how your choices are impacting you, not necessarily what other people are doing to you, but what you're doing to yourself,
Yeah.
um, then that makes you take a step back and start to reprioritize how you want to treat yourself. And then from there, you start to make different decisions.
So if you could give one piece of advice to, no, I'm not going to limit you to one. You can,
Hmm.
what is the best advice? There you go. I'm going to reframe. What is the
Okay.
best advice you could give someone who is looking for that kind of, I feel like there's a clarity and a peace that comes with being soft with yourself. Can you talk to us about that? Some advice?
Oh, some advice. Okay. So I was like, wait, what am I
I
addressing?
know.
Let's
I
edit
realized that I kind of like trapped myself with the way that I was phrasing it. I was like, shit, I asked a question and I kind of asked the same question, but
Okay.
not really.
So clarify it for me because I want to make sure that you do it.
What is the advice that you could give to someone like yourself or like myself who is seeking to live softly with themselves?
Mm. I think probably give yourself the grace that you so willingly give other people.
That is so
Like
hard though.
it is. It
But
is.
why? Why do you think it's hard? I don't know why it's hard.
That's
Why
a
is
good
it so
question.
hard to be kind to oneself when it's so easy to be kind to others?
I think we have really high expectations for ourselves. That we should be able to do this. We should be able to carry this. Well, why do we need to carry all of these things when there are people who are in our lives that love us, that will willingly help us to carry this stuff and have told us that?
I just want you to know that, like, you say things like that to me, and it's, like,
Hmm.
objective, like, I understand, and I'm like, "Oh, what she's saying makes total sense," and at the same time, I'm like, my
You're like,
reptilian
oh
brain
no.
is like, "Is she speaking French? What the fuck?" I don't get it. I don't one of the greatest pieces of feedback that I have received as a leader, and one of the most consistent, is that I
Yeah.
am terrible, and I am so bad at asking for help.
Hmm.
So bad. I mean, Cynthia, you know that. Like,
Hmm. I do. Yeah.
you had to like, I mean, very metaphorically, but you had to like beat me to accept help from you. Like you were just like, take my love. And I was like, I guess.
Maybe.
But so I struggle with that a ton. And I think
Yeah.
that to me, I think that that's a huge key of
Hmm.
being soft with yourself, like involving other people.
Yeah.
I think we as women, we have a tendency to see ourselves as islands of competency. Like we are always going to be the ones to get shit done, and
Yeah.
we're smart and we're brilliant and we're passionate and we're all of these really dynamic things. And yet we have all of these kind of expectations framed around us
Hmm.
in community. Like that is a piece of the solution. It's like people
Yeah.
are like, why innovator? And I'm like, there are like 60 different answers in my head that I could probably come up with if you asked me. But like one of the big ones is like knowing that I'm not alone, knowing that
Yeah.
people share this really difficult experience that we're all kind of on and can come to it from like a similar frame.
Hmm.
Reaching out to your community, like reach out, ask for help, and ask for fun, ask for laughs, like
Yeah.
ask for the things that you need. It's not always, will you do this thing for me? It's sometimes, will you be with me? Will
Hmm.
you be in community with me? You
Yeah.
know?
I had a friend send me a video today, and I'd seen it a few times from a few different people that sent it to me. But she sent it just this morning, and it was Simon Sinek, and he
Yeah.
was talking about his friend who had been struggling. And he said, he asked her, well, why didn't you reach out to me for help? And she said, I did. And he said he went back through the text messages, and it was really just her asking what he was doing and
Yeah.
would you like to come hang out? And he said, to me, there's no urgency in this. These are normal text messages. So I wouldn't have gotten the sense that you needed somebody to come share space with you. Um,
Yeah.
and so now they have a code. Do you have 8 minutes? That way
Ooh.
they know there's automatically, hey, I need you in this moment. Do you have 8 minutes that you can carve out just for me? So
Yeah.
something as simple as that with the people in your life, figuring out what that sounds like for you all, what that looks like for y'all, I think is super important and key to making sure that when you are asking for help, you're
Yeah.
asking for the actual help that you need.
Yeah. I think so. One of the things that let's not say frustrated. My frustration level is like it's slowly going down because I'm talking
Yeah.
to Cynthia Fails, and it's one of it was not this way when we started. But
It was not. Can confirm.
yep. I was very loud for no reason. Uh, but no, so I think one of the things that we as humans, like, this is not a gendered thing. This is, I think
Hmm.
we need to get much better at being specific
Yep.
about what we have to give and what we need to take. And when
Hmm.
I say that, like, just as an example, so when someone passes away and you have someone in grief, like, often what people want to say is, "Oh, how can I help?" But the thing with that is like you're kind of putting the responsibility of the griever, you're putting responsibility on them to now they have to think about, oh, well, these are the ways that I need help, and these are the ways that so and so could plug in, and like,
Hmm.
and really, so you're asking them to manage a process right
Hmm.
there at a time when it is very difficult to take on additional processes given
Yeah.
everything that you're still dealing with. And so whenever someone passes in my life and I'm like reaching out to someone who is intimately connected to that, I give very, very specific, like, I will bring you food. I can bring you a chicken broccoli quinoa casserole. It's healthy and delicious. I'll bring you a bag salad. I'll drop it on your porch. I can watch the kids for 3 hours if you need to go run errands, or like,
Hmm.
I get very tactical with the
Yeah.
things that but I feel like we could mitigate the need for this if we could just get better about asking for what we want. Instead of saying, I need help, it's, I need this very specific thing.
Hmm.
Instead of saying, how can I help? It becomes, I can do this very specific thing. And
Yeah.
you remove all the guesswork, right? But that's not how we talk about
Yeah.
needing help.
Well, and sometimes to be fair, you can know that you need help and not know what you need specifically.
That's true.
But just sharing space with people can be helpful for you as well. And it might help you to figure out what it is that you need in what area. Yeah.
Yeah. Cynthia says that, and she says it all pretty. And what she's not telling you is that she's essentially my emotional support, Cynthia.
What?
So Cynthia's gotten really good at that with me. Where like usually I call her and I'm kind of frenetic, and then by the end of our time together, I'm like, ah, calm, excellent. This is like you're my emotional
Oh,
support
man.
friend.
Hopefully all your friends are like that.
One would think, but I don't know if I don't know if some people know how to be friends, myself included. I
Mm,
struggle with it too.
yeah,
Yeah. Anyway.
that's fair. That's fair.
Well, so what else would you like to share about a soft life? What else do you want us to know, Cynthia?
I think we are really hard on ourselves when it comes to feeling like we haven't done enough.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that can help to curb that is to reflect on the things that you've done, not big things, like the
Okay.
little things, the stuff that if you didn't do it from day to day, day in and day out, the stuff that would make your life way more difficult to do in the present moment. Thank yourself for that stuff. Have gratitude for that stuff. And I
Well,
think that
so
helps
give us an
to settle things
example.
down.
Like, what's an
Um,
example?
there are moments, so I am training for another race, and there are moments when I don't feel like running. I don't feel like getting up. I don't even want to do like a 15-minute workout. I don't even want to walk. But I get up and I do it. And once I get started, it usually is okay. Sometimes I still don't want to do it, but I'll finish it anyway. But ultimately, at the end of it, I have to thank myself because the work that I put in this moment, I know will help me to make sure that I don't lose any of the progress that I've made along the way. And
Yeah.
ultimately, on race day, it's going to help me to be stronger. So, thanking yourself for that kind of stuff, thanking
Yeah.
yourself for getting out of bed, thanking yourself for eating so that you have, I
For me,
mean, like
it's
really
often
get
the
small.
showering thing. Like,
Yeah.
seems like this, but I'm just like every single time I'm like, if I shower, I'm gonna have to do my hair, and and I don't have to do any of these things. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is all internally imposed, but like I have to do my makeup, I have to do my hair, I have to blow dry my shit. Like I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
So then I don't,
Yeah.
and that's not okay. Like really, because really, what's broken in my brain is not the fact that it's not that I don't want to shower. What's broken in my brain is that I can shower and then have that be it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I got clean, I got warm, it was very nice. And I didn't have to do any of those things that I told
Mm-hmm.
myself that I had to do. I don't have to shave my legs every time I shower. I do.
Mm-hmm.
But like I have built up this expectation that like I have to do these things. And so sometimes I elect to opt out rather than doing the healthy thing, which is like, well, just take the fucking shower, Lauren, and then don't do your hair.
Yeah. Well, and not just do the thing, but you get to do the thing, right?
Yeah.
Because
It's that kind of gratitude.
that's a different mindset as well. That I get to do that. I have running water. I have warm running water so that I can take a shower that's comfortable.
It's true.
And being grateful for those types of things. So, but
Yeah.
it takes practice. It takes practice. We often overlook a lot. And I feel
Yeah.
like if we spent more time in the moment, just being grateful that even right now, as we're having this conversation, I can be grateful that we're having this conversation and I get to share these kinds of things and I get to learn more from you. And we get to share it with other people. And hopefully it will help somebody. I don't know. If it helps you, drop a
There's hope.
comment
I
so
mean,
that
I
we know.
definitely, we come on here and I always have a great time talking to you and I have a great time talking to the guests that we have. But that is the hope for delivery of
Hmm.
IHKC Live. Like let's talk about the things that
Yeah.
we don't often have an opportunity to talk about. And let's do
Hmm.
it in a very real way, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
I am very grateful for you.
Yeah.
But that's not even a small thing. That's a big thing. Um okay. Well,
Yep.
I know that we were running late and that was my bad. I had to have a
All
little
good.
temper tantrum at Cynthia first. I'm really, really glad that that was not being broadcast. It was not one of my finer moments, but it is neither here. Oh, wait, no, I'm going to be kind to myself. It's okay. It happened. No one got hurt. We're moving on.
There it is. Be
There you
soft with yourself. Be soft
go.
with yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a temper, okay?
There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Just
Yeah,
acknowledge it.
I wish it
Just
were better,
acknowledge it.
but here's the good thing. Well, and I think that maybe this is a piece of what we're talking about too, like being kind to yourself. Like I'm aware that I have a temper. It's something that I'm working on, but one of the things
Hmm.
that I'm actually very proud of myself is like once my temper, it's like a solar flare. It burns bright and it's really fast, but then when it's over, it's over. And I'm
Hmm.
like, I'm done. And I actually like that about myself. I don't really hold grudges like that,
Hmm.
never have. And it's funny, like people from my past will come to me and they'll like, this literally happens. Usually it happens about 3 or 4 times a year where somebody from my past will find me on social media and they will come and they will apologize to me about something that they did to me. I was severely bullied when I was a kid, like
Hmm.
real bad. And I have multiple people have come forward to like apologize to me. And what's crazy is like with very, very few exceptions, they do this. And I'm like, I don't even remember what you're talking about. I don't remember because it all kind of converged and congealed into like this really shitty 5 or 6 year period of my life. But
Yeah.
I didn't I didn't want to hold on to the minutia of it. So I didn't. I just let it go.
Hmm. Hmm.
And like but therein comes like the being kind to myself about it. Like I can have a temper about it and I can have PTSD and I can have all of these complicating factors, but I can also remind myself that like as long as you let it go, it's
Yeah.
okay.
Hmm.
When you let it go, it's not hurting anybody anymore, right? including myself.
As long as you're not letting it go towards somebody.
Yeah, like you don't let it go
like
to keep peace. You let it go to keep your internal peace. Like I'm not letting it go for them. I'm letting it go for me.
No. I'm talking about the temper part of it.
Oh, yeah.
As long as that isn't in somebody else's direction.
I don't know. I yelled at you.
You didn't yell at me. You were frustrated.
That's true. I yelled in your general sphere, but I was not yelling at you.
Correct.
I was just yelling.
Those are two different things. Because if you started yelling at me, you and I both know.
we would have
would not have continued.
Would you have had words, or would you have just been like, bye?
I'd have been like, I gotta go. Okay. But again, that's all part of being soft, right? Having boundaries, honoring your boundaries, and letting it be what it is. That helps you be soft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to work on that, but both interpersonally and like internally. I need to work on that. Soft is not what I'm known for.
Yet.
There you go.
Yet.
You just injected a little bit of kindness there. We'll see, Cynthia.
It is what it is.
Oh man, I love you so much. All right. What time is it? It is 2:12.
2:13.
Sure.
What's coming up for IHKC?
Oh Lord. You asked that question like I have any idea. I mean, first Tuesday of the month, we've got, I think we're actually going to try to do cafe again for our monthly meetup. Yeah. We had a blizzard this past, I was the only one there. Yeah. Did you know? I was like, I'm going to take, no, it was so dumb. I was like, in my head, I was like, okay, the blizzard's over. The streets are getting done. I was like, I'm going to take a chance. I knew it was a gamble. And I was like, I'm going to take a chance and I'm going to see if anybody shows up. And nobody showed up. It was awesome.
I feel like most people probably assume that they would be closed on that day.
Yeah. Again, like I totally understand it, but I was just like, yeah, that one did not pan out.
But it'd be good to go back in February if we can and support.
Yeah. Well, and then what's fun is, so I think it's either going to be March or April, and I'm not sure, and it depends on what's going on with them. But have you heard about the Dub opening up?
No.
So it's the women only sports bar. Sorry. Let me rephrase that. It is the sports bar that is created for women's sports.
Yes.
I realized as soon as it came out, I was like, that didn't sound right. Men are also welcome, I'm sure. But purpose built or purpose created for women's sports. So that's going to be one of our monthly meetups coming up. I am working on a concept and I'm looking for sponsors. So if you happen to see this, reach out to me. But it's a health check summit for our members, talking about, marketing for your business, legal for your business, but getting providers together. So I'm working on that. And I would invite anybody watching, if you are interested in getting involved and sharing your perspective. And maybe this is me asking for help. If you would like to get in on the tactical bits and pieces, I would love to do that. But I don't really know what's going on with IHKC right now because we're just in a very transitional phase at the moment, and I'm trying to be comfortable with that.
Yeah, be soft with yourself.
Like, it's okay for me to have no idea what the hell we're doing because nobody else has any idea what the hell anyone's doing, so it's okay. Right?
It is okay.
Yeah. But
clarity,
keep an eye out.
Clarity will come.
Cool IHKC stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Cool. All right. What, did you just do finger guns before we finger guns?
And then here's the dancing.
Oh my gosh! While she is giving y'all finger guns and dancing, thank you for sharing some time with us today on this month's IHKC Live. If there was anything of value, make sure that you give us a like. Also, be sure to follow us. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that bell. Go ahead and subscribe. Turn on those notifications. And we'll see you.
I gotta go.
In the next one.
We love you. Bye.
Bye.